YouTube, it's your boy, the official Go Getter. I'm coming at you guys back with another video. Today we're gonna be discussing what the stock market is. So we've already talked about stocks and why to invest. We've talked about financial freedom. We've talked about what stocks are. But now let's talk about what the stock market truly is, right, and why it matters, right? So first, we're gonna get into the first thing, which is the stock market is a place where buyers and sellers come together to find a price agreement on a stock, right? We talked about what stock is. It's a portion of agreement that you get to buy and take full ownership of, right? But now, let's talk about what exactly the stock market is as an exchange, right? So first here, the stock market is a place where buyers and sellers come together to find an agreement on a stock, right? So you have a stock, right, which is that share, right, which is that piece of the company that you're getting when you give them that money, right? That stock is separate from the stock market and the stock market exchange itself, right? So the stock market exchange is where somebody who wants to buy this stock and somebody who wants to sell this stock, they have to come up with an agreement on a price that they're going to buy and sell it for, right? So that's the whole stock market exchange, and that's what we're getting into today. So the stock market is a place where buyers and sellers come together to find an agreement on a stock. Just spoke about that. So somebody's coming to buy this stock and somebody's coming to sell this stock, right? So let's move on to the next thing, right? So the stock market has three indices, right, or indexes. The first is the S&P 500, which is the top 500 publicly traded companies in America, right? The next is the NASDAQ, which is 100 of the more original stocks. It's 100 more prominent stocks. Let's look up what some stocks are in the NASDAQ. Or actually, we could look right here. We go right here and we go to, we search NAS 100 right here on TradingView. And right here, TradingView is a platform I use to look at stocks, look at charts. Everybody, a lot of people use this platform. It's actually the best platform to look at stocks, look at charts, and understand all these things. And what we're trying to look at now is figure out what companies are actually in the NASDAQ that I can give you examples of. But some top companies I can think of top of my head, it's like Tesla, Apple, Microsoft, maybe other companies, maybe like Procter and Gamble, which is an essentials company. Okay, we'll just look it up on Google. I don't know where to find it, but companies are in the NAS 100. Okay, let's redo that. All right, we got the company NAS 100 company breakdown. So in this NASDAQ 100 breakdown, here are the sectors. You got consumer discretionary, which is like the money that we spend on when we have extra money to go buy the stuff that we want, right? Consumer staples is the things that we actually need, the money that we spend on the things we need. Healthcare, you already know what that is. Healthcare companies, industrial companies, they make the buildings, and they make buildings. What's the word? Supplies, tools, all that. Technology is tech, Apple, Amazon, or Apple, Tesla, Nvidia. Telecommunications, what's in Cisco, which is like cloud computing, T-Mobile, Comcast. Also, this is So these are the different sectors that happen. So these are the different companies that are within the NAS 100, where you could say they're more original companies that have been around for much longer and have a bigger stamp in more of an original stamp in the stock market. So the Dow Jones Industrial consists of 30 companies. So this is another index. Dow Jones Industrial consists of 30 companies like Caterpillar, Home Depot, and the 3M Company, which these are all tools, all things to just build and do industrial work, right? So that's just all Dow Jones is consisted of. So 30 companies that are prominent in the industrial energy, right? So three important identities in the stock market is what we're going to move on to next. We're not going to move on to that next. Before we get to there, we're going to talk about the why all these matter and the differences between all these. We're gonna dive deeper into it. So the S&P 500, this is the 500 top companies in the stock market that are publicly traded, right? So, so the difference between publicly traded and privately traded, right? So when a stock market when a company wants to become a company that gets onto the stock market, they have to become public, right? So somebody right now is a private company, right? But if they want to list themselves on a market so we can invest in them, they have to become a public company, meaning they have to they are obligated to release all the things they spend their money on, all the things they how much money they made, right? How much money they lost, what things they're investing in for the business, all the things that go down to the business on the back end, right, is no longer private anymore. It becomes public, right? So that's what makes a company on the stock market different than just a regular company. This is a public company. This is a publicly traded company, and we're able to see the ins and outs, right? So yes, that could look like a loss for them, but at the end of the day, if they're showing their results as a company to us, which gives us the likelihood, if they're a good company, to invest into them and give them more money, so then they can have more money and more revenue to make the company better. So that's how it makes them, that's how it helps the companies, right, on their end, right? So it helps us by being able to make money as they make money, right? But it helps them to actually take the money that we're giving them, so then they can make that more money, right? Because they may not be getting it in other ways. So that's the S&P 500. S&P 500 is kind of the most common one that a lot of people know. Like when I said this, more than likely you know about the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100. Those are the top, right? I would say most important because they're the biggest, right? They consist of the biggest companies, and they've been around the longest. So the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, the Dow Jones Industrial, right? I don't mess around too much. I don't invest into the Dow Jones Industrial, but it's not a bad thing. It's just a way to, if you wanted to get into industrial companies and diversify your portfolio, which is important, you can definitely hop into the Dow Jones 30. I don't know how much they cost. Let's look on TradingView. Let's look on TradingView for how much the Dow Jones costs. But yeah, this is where I come for all the stocks, everything that I want to look at. DJI. So DJI is the ticker number for Dow Jones, and the ticker number for S&P 500 is SPY. And for a full share of the Dow Jones, I believe it's $43,000. Is that what I'm seeing? Let's make sure. Let's make sure how much is a share of Dow Jones 30. All right, yeah, $43,000 for a share for the Dow Jones. I never even really realized that. But this will get you to invest into the industrial companies, right? And obviously it doesn't do too bad. It's up 15% year to date. It's up 4% in the last month. And today it's up 3% alone. Today's election day. So a lot of the stocks are up during election day. So we can move on to the 3 important identities in the stock market, right? And I learned this from Wall Street Trapper. The 3 important identities in the stock market is the market maker, and the investor, and the trader,